Welcome back, my friends. This video will go to the end of Samadhi Pada, which was Patanjali's explanation of the states of consciousness and what stands in our way to getting there. As he's going into an explanation of what is inexplicable, it's a little hard to grasp with the mind. Again, experiments in higher consciousness are required to fully understand what he's talking about. And for that, the practice of yoga is what we do to get to these places. So we ended with number 43, where he's explaining that samadhi is this state. Now there are states of samadhi that are still connected to the mind, where the mind is clear, contemplative, and you're perceiving things very clearly. And then there are these states of samadhi that are fully beyond the mind. And these are the ones you can't describe in worldly terms. You have to have these experiences. So 44 is basically saying that the reflective and the non-thinking states of samadhi are explained in the previous sutras, where he's talking about you have something to focus on and you're doing something that's bringing you joy to do this kind of contemplation, this kind of concentration. All of these are preparations for the liberation of consciousness, just flying out and going beyond. This is really where it's at. And as I've stated a few times previously, it's not necessarily what people are looking for in the Western world when we get into yoga, but it is the goal of yoga. So we need to bear that in mind, that the Yoga Sutras are about going beyond our normal state of consciousness into our eternal reality, which has been the goal of all the religions, of all the philosophers. Understanding that we are eternal, infinite beings, but in the limitations of a body while we are here. So ideally we're going beyond the limitations, freeing ourselves from all this contemplative thinking and analyzing, what he referred to as the modifications of the mind, what I'm redefining a little bit as the actions, the habitual active patterns of the mind, to remember, to imagine, etc. These are all mind games that are in the way of free consciousness going to the higher levels. So then he goes into Sutra 45. The subtlety of possible objects of concentration ends only at the undefinable. Okay? Objects of concentration. Things in this world, you're concentrating on chakras in the inner world, the energy forms, the patterns, geometric patterns, the sounds of them. These are still all things. And when you're going beyond this with consciousness, all these things become undefinable. You can no longer distinguish, discriminate, tell the difference between this and that. It all becomes one electromagnetic ocean of vibration, which has the essential feeling of blissful, orgasmic consciousness. This is the reality. So the things of the world, undefinable. When we're here, we're defining and naming all these things. When you go beyond, that's not a possibility. It all melts back into the ocean. Then we get to number 46. He's saying now that all these states of samadhi are with the seed, so that we're concentrating, there's something to be focused on, even if it's consciousness itself, becoming aware of your own consciousness. Something to focus on is still an attachment to something which kind of binds us down to this world of our accepted reality, and going beyond that is another step. And if we're still in this place of focusing on something, doing meditational practices, as opposed to flying up into a meditational state beyond, we are creating links and attachments that will bring us back to reincarnate in this world. And the reality of the final goals in yoga is you're simply really going beyond anything known, anything definable. So this is, if it's definable, it's connected to something, and the thing is an attachment to this world. And ultimately we need to let go of all of that. Let's take a deep breath and let it go. So for most people, this is going pretty far out. We still have things we're attached to here. We have people we know. We have the world that we know with our minds is here. And going beyond this world into the unknown is generally just a little too far out for most people. And it's not necessary to go that far out to practice yoga to get some of the earlier benefits of good physiological health and higher state of consciousness that is happy. Again, this is a lower stages of samadhi is still through the mind, where you're perceiving things with the beauty of the world. The beauty of paradise is here, and we're in it, and we're happy to be in it. There are many things to be enjoyed here. Ultimately, when you're getting to the end of your life here, or your lifetime here, you want to have the freedom to go beyond and have experiences that are a little more blissfully rewarding than anything we do here. If not, you come back. And it's fine to come back. Most of us come back many times. Most of us don't remember that we're coming back. But we can do that. Then he talks in Sutra 47, in the purity of nirvichara samadhi, the supreme consciousness shines. Now in this nirvichara samadhi, this is the beyond. This is consciousness out in space, unrecognizable. Even the planets are unrecognizable. Everything is just in this ocean. Bubbles of manifestation or not, it doesn't matter. You're in the blissful state. Essentially nothing matters anymore. You're just having a cosmic orgasm. And when you're having that, you don't care for anything else, because it's fully consuming your consciousness and engaging you in the experience itself. So talking about these things in words, through the mind, doesn't really communicate the essential feeling of these levels of samadhi, where and why we need to practice to go into these higher states. Then we understand. When you get to this place of consciousness, shining in consciousness, you're in Purusha. Okay, this is the consciousness of the universe. Above the mind level, through the mind level, everything is manifested and created, but you're above all that. Beyond creation into this state. And he's saying this is the inner nature of absolute, true consciousness. Not the conscious mind. There is no mind at all. It's just the observer of everything in the universe. And you unite with that observation of everything that is or is not, manifested or not. You're in the place, the original seed formation of everything imaginable that can be manifested. You're simply in this place of consciousness before that, above that. And it's a place of such blissful happiness that, as I said, nothing matters anymore. In the end, it doesn't matter at all. Now in Sutra 49, he states simply that the truth about reality is totally different from knowledge gained by hearing or any other senses. It's different from scriptural knowledge or mind projections. The truth of absolute consciousness is so far beyond the mind that it cannot be described. And he's saying this in Sutra 49, which is coming to the end of the descriptions of level of samadhi. In Sutra number 50, he states that the impression produced by this kind of samadhi, the experience of this samadhi, is wiping out all of the other impressions, essentially wiping out memory of everything that has happened. You're in a place where there is no happening. Everything simply is in this blissful state of vibration. Vibrational bliss is all there is. You can't distinguish anything. Distinguishing is through the mind. Distinctions are made, labels are put on things. We're beyond that. And then in the last one, 51, when even this impression is wiped out, every impression is totally wiped out. Every concept, every experience dissolves into the oneness of this orgasmic state of consciousness. That's it. The final state of consciousness, beyond anything describable, beyond reality as we think of reality. Okay, it's the undescribable aspect. And you need to practice the yoga for a while to get to these experiences. And very few people will actually get there. As Krishna points out in the Bhagavad Gita, only 1 out of 1,000 people will take a serious interest in yoga. And out of all those who take a serious interest, not many will make it to the final goal. So, the final goal is beyond. We end up there eventually after so many lifetimes. For the present moment, we are in the material world practicing yoga, doing these things that give us better health, make us happy, create a nice state of consciousness. For most people, that's enough. That's a good state of accomplishment, to have a happy life and contain the happiness. And let's remember, the first stages of samadhi are happiness, being and doing in this world, and having happy thoughts, good emotions that are feeling the happiness, the blissfulness. And later on, in some other lifetime, for many of us, we'll be going beyond, dissolving into the universal ocean of electromagnetic energy and the consciousness that is perceiving it all. This is Purusha and Prakriti. The substance is the electromagnetic energy ocean, and Purusha is the observer of everything, all the waves that are created in that ocean, all the fish that are swimming in it, etc. All right, thank you for listening to this final little talk. There's the text on it. If anyone is interested, you can email me, david@chakrayoga.com. A written text is good as a review, and you can look things up. The next series will be on sadhana. The sadhana is pada. And these are the steps of what we need to practice. Sadhana is your practice. So this is what to do to get to these higher levels of consciousness. And if you just want to get to the first level of samadhi, which is happiness in this world, hey, that's fine, that's cool. It's a good place to be. If everyone were there, there would be no problems in the world. The problems come because we don't have enough happiness within ourselves. So we need to have happiness, like children running and playing. We lose that, we end up in a very troubled world. And we can fix the troubled world by fixing ourselves, coming back to this peaceful place. Just the first level of samadhi is fine. Thank you for listening.